is going to be a section on the left hand. On my first Hot Licks video, I put a lot of emphasis on the right hand with picking exercises and things like that. And a lot of people at my clinics asked me if I would cover some things on the left hand, and I think it's real important, so I'm going to base my final section on the left hand. And I'm going to break this section down into two parts. I'm going to break it down into exercises to help build up your strength, articulation, and accuracy in the left hand. And the second section is going to be just a bunch of common licks that are my favorite ones that I'd like to use, and I'll show you how to move them around on the neck. Okay, so I'm going to use the key of A minor for these ideas. Actually, I don't need to talk about that until we actually get into the soloing. The exercises kind of aren't in a key, but the first group of exercises are going to be two-finger exercises. In other words, we're going to isolate each group of two fingers. We're going to use the first and second, then the third and fourth. Whoops, second and third. I can't even count my own fingers here. And then the third and fourth. We're going to break it down in groups of two fingers. And the first thing is going to be a simple hammer-on. I'm just going to take one note on the first fret and hammer the higher one. And then we're going to move that across all the strings. Okay, now we'll do that same hammer-on thing with the second and third fingers. And then the third and fourth, which are the most difficult fingers to use. Okay, so now we're going to do that same thing backwards. We're going to use a pull-off, so we're going to start with a higher note and pull off to a lower one. And let's use each group of two fingers for those also across the strings. Then the second and third. And then the third and fourth. Okay, now what we're going to do is a hammer and a pull. So we're going to play a note with a pick, hammer a higher note, and pull back down to the original note. So it's kind of a trill type of idea. We're going to go through all the same groups of two fingers. Okay, and then the last part of this is going to be a pull and a hammer. So do that with all groups of two fingers. So that completes the two-finger exercises, and I'm sure they sound really boring, and they're a little boring to play sometimes too, but they're really going to help your left hand if you can do these over and over again. Okay, so now let's move on to some 3- and 4-note or finger type of exercises here. And the first one is going to be a basic 4-note hammer-on, and we're going to pick the first note and hammer chromatically 3 higher. And let's move that across all the strings. All right, and you can take that and move it up a fret at a time too if you want to keep doing it over and over. Start at a comfortable speed and then gradually build up the speed as, you know, a week or two go by. But one thing I would recommend with these exercises is using a metronome, especially in this example, because your fingers are going to have a tendency to want to rush the notes and not hit them right on the beat. So if you use a metronome, it'll really help your timing, and you'll be able to, you know, monitor how each finger should hit the note right on the beat. Okay, so the next thing is going to be pull-offs using 4 fingers. So we're going to start with a higher note and use a bunch of pull-offs. And again, you can take these and move them up the fretboard, fret at a time, as far as you want to go. All right, so now let's do some three-finger exercises. Let's use the first, second, and third finger and do some hammer-ons and then some pull-offs. So the first hammer-on is going to be this. Again, take that and move it up the neck as much as you feel you need to do it. And then we're going to do some pull-offs here using 3 notes. 3, 2, 1 pattern. And again, you can take that and move it up. Okay, so we did some 3-note exercises using these 3 fingers. Now we're going to get into the real killer ones, which are these 3. So we're going to do the same basic exercises, but you're going to find that it's a lot more difficult because this part of the hand isn't as strong. So first, let's do the hammer-ons. Again, take that and move it up the neck. You know, keep doing it over and over, and you'll find it'll help a lot. And then the real killer one is going to be the pull-offs here. 4, 3, and 2. My hand's like ready to fall off already from that one just by doing it like 2 cycles there. So that's a really, really hard exercise, but it'll really help strengthen your pinky, and it'll help all your fingers. All these exercises will help all your fingers kind of work together as a team. Like this could be the quarterback, and like, you know, this is the lineman, and whatever. I'll stop there. Okay, so that pretty much completes the exercise section. One thing I want to stress that's real important is, you know, really push yourself with these, but don't push yourself to the point where you think you might hurt yourself. For instance, if you feel any pain, then just stop for a while and come back to it. To be honest, when I went through these, what I would do is I would always push my left hand. You know, it would get tired, but I would keep pushing it and pushing it. I think as with any, you know, physical type of exercise, you have to push yourself a little bit. But, you know, there's a point where you have to stop. There's a point that is too much. So be your own best judge of this. And if you feel you're going too far to where you might hurt your hand, stop for a while and come back to it, especially if you feel any pain. But remember, push it a little bit. So there are a bunch of different exercises, and these will definitely help strengthen your left hand, and also you'll build articulation and accuracy with these. Don't worry about speed with them at first. Start at a comfortable tempo with a metronome, and gradually, you know, build it up over a period of time. And a metronome is also good for that because it'll help you monitor just how much faster you're getting with things. Okay, so my last section of the left hand here is going to be a group of licks. And these are just basic licks that I like to use a lot. The first one I'm probably not even going to be able to play after doing that last exercise. But anyway, here's my best shot. All these are going to be in the key of A minor. I'll play them fast. I'll show you what they're based off of, you know, and I'll break them down real slow for you. Some of them are like 3 and 4 note things, so they're already going to be simple, and I'll show you how you can build them up to come up with some cool type of ideas. So here is the first lick. All right, now I'm going to show you what that's based on. It's based on a simple group of 8 notes, and here it is, the basic lick. Notice I'm only picking the first note, and the rest are hammer-ons and pull-offs. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking the lick, and I'm taking that same pattern, group of 8 notes, and moving it across different sets of strings like this. And notice I'm only picking the first note in that whole lick. You know, I'm picking the A note, and from there on it's all left hand. It requires a lot of physical strength, and I think the exercises I just showed you will really help you build up that if you don't already have it. And one thing that you'll find is that by tensing up and really trying to play hard with your left hand is going to be the worst thing you can do. The more you practice the exercises I showed you, the more you'll learn how to relax your left hand and just be really light, and you'll be able to do, you know, licks like this, you know, very light with no tension in your arm, and it'll be a lot easier than trying to play it hard. Okay, so my second idea is going to be based on 2 strings, and it's going to be something that moves down the neck and back up the neck, and here it is. And here it is slowed down. Notice I'm picking the first note on each string, and the rest are hammers and pulls. There's a cool idea. My next lick is going to be a simple 4-note lick. It's just going to be the notes A, C, B, C. And again, you're just going to pick the first notes and hammer the rest. And you can move that across the strings, and it's a cool lick. So there's a bunch of different things you can do with just that basic, simple 4-note idea. Now here's a 3-note idea. It's going to be the notes C, A, and B. And you can take that and move it across the strings. There's all kinds of cool things you can do with that particular run. Okay, the next idea would be A, C, B. There's all kinds of, neat little ideas you can do with that idea also. Okay, now another cool thing with hammers and pulls and the left-hand type of playing is to use it with pentatonic stuff. So let's take some pentatonic licks and break them down. Here's the first example. Here it is slowed down. Okay, so that's all a bunch of pull-offs. Let's do that using some hammer-ons. All right, now let's slow that down. So there's a bunch of cool things you can do with pentatonic stuff. All right, here's one of my favorite ideas using stuff based on pentatonics, but it kind of goes outside the pentatonic scale, but you'll get the idea. Here it is. And here it is slow. And that's just a series of hammer-ons. Now another cool thing you can use here is diminished type of runs. I'm going to play you a diminished run that I played on my latest record, Time Odyssey. It's in a song called, what is that song called? Race with Destiny. Here it is. I'll play it for you and I'll slow you the diminished run down. All right, now that last lick was the one I was talking about. I'll slow that down for you, and it's just a series of hammer-ons and pull-offs. Here it is. A lot of my friends were complimenting me on how fast I picked that particular line. I never told them that it was all hammer-ons and pulls, so if you happen to see any of them, don't even mention it to them. But that's just another example of how you can take some hammer-ons and do some diminished type of runs. It's really hard because they're wide stretches, and also because you're skipping a string in there, but if you work on it, you can come up with some cool things based on this idea. There's all kinds of things you can do. Okay, so my last and final lick here is going to be one of my favorite ones. It's just a simple 8-note type of idea. I'll show it to you and show you how you can move it around. Okay, now here's what you can do with it. You can move it across the strings. There's also all kinds of things you can do with that line also. And so experiment with all these ideas and move them around to different positions and keys and try to come up with as many possibilities as you can. All right, so that pretty much completes not only this section, but my entire video here. Hope it's been a help to you. I hope it can really help you out here with some of the different ideas, especially the mode section. So thank you very much for tuning in, and see you next time. Bye. Play a tune. Okay, so I'm going to end with a few licks that I just went over just to show you how you can build cool left-hand type of things based on these ideas.